it'll be. Baby, if it's meant to be.
97.9 B98. Welcome in, Lucas and Kareth in the morning. 8 minutes past 7 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Another hot day in Wichita. It's going to be 98, maybe hitting 100 tomorrow or this weekend. All right. So I told you that my son Zach is filling in for Kareth today. He's a guest co-host, and so far so good, even though he's embarrassed me a few times. But I embarrass him all the time talking about you on the radio.
Fair.
Right?
It's only been like 18 years of embarrassing me.
18 years of... No, let's be honest. Mom embarrasses you way more than I have ever embarrassed you.
At this point, I don't even get embarrassed. I just acknowledge it.
Because Mom has...
I'm just so used to it.
Do you think you need therapy from what Mom's done to you? I mean, seriously, do you need therapy? If you do, just let me know. I'll pay for therapy for you. Even though you're an adult now, you're 18, you should pay for yourself. And so you've been doing keto diet, right?
Yeah.
For 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have my friend, I can literally say I have my friend on the air, Dr. Seacrest. Thank you for coming in, by the way, again.
Great to be here once again.
Would you say that we're friends now?
I would definitely agree with that.
We've definitely developed into a friendship.
I'm a lucky man.
Yeah, we're lucky to have each other. So let's talk about this. It's been a year since I got pellets. Okay? And I want to talk about that because people consider you the pellet doctor, the expert, and I do too. But before we get to any of that, you brought your mom in with you.
Well, yeah, she's visiting from out of town. And
I love
she's just
that.
so youthful on the inside. And I just told her, and you're like, bring her. Let her say something.
Yeah. So we'll talk to your mom here in a minute. But I want to get to Zach talking about doing this diet, this keto diet. Now, you've talked about keto on the show before.
Yeah, a little bit. I like the concept of keto, and I think it's really popular. It's kind of trendy right now, and I don't know whether it's going to be a long-term trend or not, but the whole concept makes a lot of sense. I'm not a fan of diets in general, and if you sit in my office and you hear me talk, I just don't think that diets work long-term at all. And if you think I'm wrong on that, just ask yourself, well, how many diets out there are there? There's thousands. We've all heard of the different diet of the day. The problem is there's no one good one. That's why there's so many. So they're temporary. So lifestyle changes are the way to go. And I like keto because it can kind of jumpstart you. It's fairly easy to start, but there's a transition period. And it can be complex, so you want to follow a set program if you're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so Zach, what have you noticed about the keto diet that you've tried? And by the way, why do you want to do the keto diet?
I just want to get in better shape. Okay,
so you want to get shredded. Isn't that the word you said?
Ripped.
Yeah, you got to get ripped, right? And so, and that's one way. Does it burn fat, Dr. Seacrest?
It's weight loss, so you want to burn as much fat as you can, on anything that you're on. But the keto is a strategy. It's a vehicle that allows you to start down that pathway and just lean up.
For like what, a week, a month? How long? Yeah. What's a good keto? What's a good way to just
it depends on how much you want to lose and stuff. I've got friends. I got a nurse that I work with, and she's down over 50-some pounds on it. Her and her husband, they just have adopted that lifestyle for a short season of their life to achieve the goal they want to get, and then they'll transition back to adding the carbohydrates back.
Okay. So with the keto diet, Zach, you can't have a lot of carbs, you know that. And it brings your, I know when I tried, trust me, I tried the keto diet. I didn't want to lose a lot of weight. I just wanted to
experience.
I wanted to experience what everybody was experiencing, because I've lost the weight that I want to lose, but I'm like Zach. I want to stay in shape. I want to maybe even get a little bit more ripped, but I couldn't do it. I have to have carbs. There's something in my mind that says I have to have carbs. I have to have fruit. There's only a couple things of fruit that you can have in a keto diet.
Right, and carbs aren't evil, but if you're going to be on a keto program, you want to. The whole point is to get your body down to you have so few carbohydrates in your system that your body shifts its metabolism to start burning more fat, because that's its source of energy, and so then you lose the inches that you want.
Yeah.
The key is you want to keep working out and stuff like that, or it'll end up costing you some muscle mass.
How do you work out in the keto? Did you have
I've been working out.
I know, but do you feel like you have?
I don't have any energy after I work out.
There's nothing there. So what's the deal with
He's burned all of his carbohydrates up during the workout.
So what's the deal with the energy with the keto?
The thing is, it takes a lot longer to get into ketosis than people realize. I mean, it can take a few weeks of solid, very disciplined, meticulous tracking of your eating, so that you get a little bit of carb, you get a little bit of insulin present, and it shifts you out of ketosis. So to achieve true ketosis is not just, hey, I put the dipstick indicator in my urine, I'm making ketones. You can make ketones without being in full ketosis. So it takes a full disciplined effort for few weeks straight to achieve that full ketosis, but you can get a keto-like result with the new concept that people are doing, and I like it. It's called intermittent fasting.
Okay, so that's what. So when did you? So Zach has done. You kind of done some different diets, right?
I do that. I've been doing that for a while now because
Who told you about it?
My buddy Bryce.
Okay, so what did Bryce do?
He does that. His span is from he goes 1 to 9, but I started to do 11 to 7.
Well, what are you talking about? 11 to 7.
That's when that's the period that you eat. So you'll just eat from 11 to 7, like that time.
So you only eat for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then you don't eat for 16 hours. That's the one I do.
Is that? Have you heard that one before?
Yeah. So the term now is intermittent fasting, but it's just a concept the way we used to eat. Think back, maybe even before your and I's time, when people in the 40s and 50s and things like that, and we weren't a culture of snacking. Now everywhere you go, it's a snack. Even our schools and our lives are built around when's the next snack. It's crazy.
I love snacks. We
love snacks, but the problem is they pack the pounds on because it gives you an insulin surge and you just store fat. So intermittent fasting is just a new term of an age-old principle of you eat for a certain block of time and you don't eat after that. What happens is your insulin levels drop. Now you can burn fat because when insulin's present, meaning after you eat, you can't burn fat. So once the insulin's gone, you can now burn fat and your inches go away. So what Zach's describing, and for him, he's made it work for him 11 to 7. That's an 8-hour window where he'll consume calories.
Yeah.
While he's trying to get into ketosis, it has to be a heavier protein and fat load.
Okay.
No carbs. But then when his 8 hours are up, boom, no more calories. So he can drink and stay hydrated.
Yeah.
But nothing with calories.
You were talking about you were going to get a diet. What was it that you needed?
Sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah, sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does work.
I like the concept. I've been doing it now for probably a little over a month or two, and so I'm one of these weird nighttime evening eaters.
Me too.
And it's just the way I'm programmed, and I've tried to fight it, and I can't. I wake up in the middle of the night hungry, and I have to go get a snack or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it affects my sleep. So
yeah.
I decided rather than beat them, I'm going to join them, and so I don't consume any calories until, say, maybe 11 or noon on a given day.
That's when you eat too?
Yeah.
Is that noon?
And then I'll eat till maybe 8 or 9 at night. Not solid through that whole time. I'll have meals with 4-hour breaks in there. So I do what's called 4-4-12. Well, my 12 starts maybe 10 o'clock at night, and then I won't eat till the next day, but I'll have in the morning a little medium chain triglyceride shake. So MCT is what I call it.
Yeah.
But that's just a liquid suspension of some fats. It tastes really good. It's sweet. There's no carbs in it.
Okay.
And that kind of sustains me. I get a little bit of energy, but I'm still in that fasting state where my insulin levels are low and I'm burning inches. And I've probably lost 2 or 3 pounds just by changing the timing of my eating without changing any of the calories.
That's awesome. Okay, coming up next, there's a couple things I want to get to. We've got to talk about, this is my year anniversary of doing the pellets. And I'm telling you, my life has changed ridiculously, right?
Absolutely.
I also want to talk about the 21-day challenge that your wife got me into, and how that is, different for other people. And we had Tanya in here not too long ago who's doing that.
Tana.
Yeah, Tana, sorry. And I want to get about that too. So we'll get to that coming up here next. If you're looking to get in better shape in your life and want to change the way that you look, the way that you feel, keep listening.
Lucas.
That is one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. I love it. Man in the Mirror on B98, 725. Welcome into the show, Lucas and Kareth in the morning. Kareth's still on vacation. My co-host today, filling in, is Zach Cox. Who's that, you say? Oh.
I've never heard of him.
It's my 18-year-old son who... I first put him on the radio. I let him interview SpongeBob SquarePants when he was 7 years old. The real SpongeBob SquarePants. The guy who speaks as SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny.
Is that his name? Do you remember? What did you ask him? Do you remember?
I don't remember what I asked him, but I do remember his voice.
Okay. So you've been on the show a few times, even now. And when you were in 8th grade, when we moved to Wichita when you were in 8th grade.
Yep.
And you went to Andover Central, and now here you are. You're graduated, and you're 18, and you're a man now.
That's right.
You're welcome.
I just can't grow a beard.
Yeah. He shaved today, so it's good. And you're doing the keto diet, and we talk with, Dr. Seacrest is in here as well. Dr. Seacrest has now become a friend of mine, and he got me into, I met him when I found out about these pellets, so we'll talk about the pellets here in a minute, but I was telling Zach has helped me with my book, and I wrote a book, and being a radio DJ, people have told me, because I think my path in the radio business has been way different than most people in radio. So people's like, you have got to write a book. So I wrote a book. I'm going to be an author, and I'll tell you when that book comes out and all that. But I figured that you, Dr. Seacrest, of all people, if you haven't written a book yet, you need to write a book and be an author. Has that crossed your mind, or have you?
It actually has, but I haven't taken the step toward it. But I think it's going to be on the list now.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we'll get it done.
You got to write a book.
Okay.
And I got to be honest with you, it's difficult to write a book just to come up with stuff. But you have so many things to offer people, to help people, and you've made it a challenge in your life, because I've talked to you now on a personal level. And you've made it a challenge that you love to help people. That's just something that's in your heart, and that's something you want to do.
Oh, it's rewarding. I mean, it's kind of like a way to give back. But it re-energizes, just like a boomerang. You throw it out and it comes back to you. I don't do it with that goal in mind, but that's what ends up happening. You go into a situation looking to maybe bless somebody, but you are the one that ends up getting blessed, just like Jared Estes says the other day.
Yeah, and so you met Jared.
Super gentleman.
And then you showed me a video of somebody who, and you ended up helping saving this person's life. And so there's so many things that you could write a book about. So I'm just saying that if I can become an author, which I have no business being an author, but you do have
you're too
you
kind.
Should be an author.
I'll need a lot of help.
So I'll buy your book when it comes out.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about that 21-day program. So your wife had my wife and I do this with her, and it was incredible. Now we've talked about that on the air already. And then Tana did it, and so she came in. How long ago was she in here?
I don't know. You had me last month, sometime a few weeks back. And,
Okay.
and so she started at the time it was about 90 days prior.
Yeah.
And she's a bigger gal who unfortunately had struggled with her health issues, and she's a young mom. And I'm just telling her story because she told it on the air, and then she's even cut a short video clip. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. And at the time, she was battling weight issues. She was already on insulin, and these are just things that she shared. I'm just recounting this. And she started on the program, and the first week she lost, oh my goodness, she had a lot of water and everything, but she lost 17 pounds, which is a little dramatic, and she got off insulin the very first week. Here we are 90 days later.
Yeah.
And at the time when she was in the show, she had already shed 60 pounds and 40-some inches, just following the 21-day program, which is not a diet. You talk to her, she gets her mind right. It's a lifestyle change. She stayed on that program.
Yeah. Well, she had mentioned on the air a couple of weeks ago when she was here that she's tried a ton of diets. And think about that. When you become, when you gain a lot of weight, I don't know, when do people say you're obese? Is it over 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds? Is there?
If you use the BMI calculator, your body mass index, it's like 30 or greater becomes obese. So over 25, you're overweight. When you hit 30 on your BMI, then you're obesity.
Okay.
Class 1, Class 2 is 35. Class 3 obesity is what we call morbid obesity. That's a BMI over 40.
Okay, so that's interesting to find out because I know I must have been obese. I could have even, because I got up to 238 pounds.
Okay.
Right? And
You're a tall guy, though.
I'm 6'1", so the BMI says if you're 6'1", that you should be 180 pounds or 185 pounds.
Yeah, it holds pretty true for most people, but not for athletes. And I consider you an athlete or an athletic person, an athletic build, at least a little bit more so than the general population.
Thank you for noticing my athletic.
You're a fit-looking guy.
As soon as you said
Zach.
athlete, so Zach gets very upset when people give me compliments about my athletic ability.
upsetting.
He gets very upset over it. I don't know why.
I don't get upset.
What do you do? You laugh.
I laugh.
Okay, because you don't think they know what they're talking about. Okay. But anyways, let's go back to it. So how many people listening right now do you think are 30 pounds or more overweight? There's probably a lot.
It's our culture. I noticed it when I was in London a few weeks back, how thin everybody was. And here in the land of milk and honey, we carry it around on our frames. We don't like it. We don't want it. We don't need it. And we're looking to shed the inches. So, so keto as a diet, I just don't think diets work long term, but it's a temporary strategy. It's a vehicle to get you down the road. But lifestyle changes are where it's at, because then you learn to eat differently.
Yeah.
What Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think like an athlete. Athletes, people diet and exercise, but athletes, they fuel their body and train. Fuel your body and train. You pull into the gas station, you've got a choice of the different handles to put in your car, right? You got the 91, 89, 87, or you can reach back here for the green handle, diesel, but eventually the engine responds to the fuel that you feed it, so choose wisely. But so eating clean, and that's why this 21-day program has been so effective, because it helps people to learn to eat higher octane, and you realize that you actually like some of the new foods you learn about. It helps you be active and things like that. And our taste buds turn over pretty much, I would say, about every 3 to 4 weeks anyhow, in a way that people say, well, I don't like this food. Great. Well, we crave what we eat. So if you want to crave something different, it's easy. Just eat something different. Eat something different, and all of a sudden, that seems pretty good. And you migrate away from the good. So you think addition, not subtraction. Add in the good foods, and the bad foods will fade away, because your taste buds will change and you won't like them as much anymore. And so she succeeded really well on that, and continues to succeed. We even got a phone call from her the other night.
Oh, really? And so Tana, she was, I forgot how much she's overweight, but she said she was like over 100 pounds overweight.
I think she did say that. So I think a lot more of that. So at the point where we'd interview her last, it was 60 pounds and 40-some inches, and then she called the other night and gave us a status.
Okay, what's the status? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I think she don't mind sharing it all. So here we are now, a few weeks later, on her quest to lose an additional 100 pounds over the next year. Yeah. She's now down 73 pounds and 58 inches.
Good grief. And she's not on a diet. She's changed the way that she lives. And that's what we're talking about. It's a lifestyle change.
Yep.
But we talked about obesity. So there's 4 different steps of obesity. See, this is I'm glad to have you on, because I didn't know that. Is it different between men and women when it comes to losing weight?
Not as much. I mean, we have to basically, at the end of the day, you have to eat less calories than you burn.
Right.
I mean, you have to burn more than you eat, so that you have an imbalance. So that's ultimately what you have to do
to lose the weight.
Yeah. So caloric restriction is really important, but you got to learn to do it in a way that you can live that way. And because you can't, I've tried it so many times, but you can't outrun your fork. But we think we can. Well, I'll eat this and I'll just go run 3 miles. It doesn't work that way. It costs you a whole lot more than mileage than you think.
It costs you an Apple Watch, too.
I guess.
So, but you there's people out there that love French fries, and you love French fries. So when you go through a drive-through, can you order a chicken sandwich with no bun and no French fries? Is that something that would be hard for you to do?
It depends where you go.
Can you give up French fries?
I could. See, the thing is I used to be able to eat 3 large fries, and I'd love that.
You love French fries?
Right.
Okay.
The other day, I could barely eat a medium. But I don't know if the food got grosser or if it was a different place or what it was, but I'm starting to get away from that food.
Do you think you can get rid of, because this is a serious question, because the people that are listening are talking about, well, if I make a lifestyle change, I'm not going to be able to eat French fries anymore. Do you think you can go without French fries?
It's like Dr. Seeker said, the more good food you put in, the more you won't want the bad food. It'll just go away, and you'll just crave the good food. So what would you
replace French fries with? Say, for instance. Because you don't like salad either.
Yeah, I don't like tomatoes or onions.
Right. So
but I'll eat a salad.
You like lettuce.
Like when you brought me a salad home the other day.
Yeah.
You didn't bring me ranch.
Right.
I just ate the salad.
Okay. I'm trying to figure this out, because there's people that will struggle with this.
Sure, it just you crave what you eat. So if you start eating a little bit differently and learn to eat things that really taste good, so that's what we kind of teach in that program. And it's that 21-day program. Yeah. And so it's actually that21dayprogram.com, which is easy to remember, because then you can learn about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. that 21dayprogram.com is what it's called.
Yeah, that's where you go to learn about it.
That's great. Okay, coming up next, It's my 1 year anniversary of being on on pellets and hormone optimization and hormone
optimization replacement therapy, but it's the safe kind.
Okay, we're going to talk about that because I'm on it. I'm 49. Your mom's doing it. She's 78.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew about this when I was 30 years old, I would have started at 30 years old. We'll talk about that coming up next. Stay where you are.
I'm only one call away. Holiday.
97.9 B98. That happens to be my wife's favorite Madonna song, Holiday, on 97.9 B98. All right, it's Lucas and Kareth in the morning. Kareth's, of course, on vacation. My son Zach is in here co-hosting with me. And then, of course, Dr. Seacrest is in here as well because I feel like when I experience something good, I want to share it with you guys so then you can actually benefit from something that's actually good. And so with Dr. Seacrest, so it's been about a year now, I would say. Mm-hmm. It was July of last year when I went into your office and went to one of those seminars first, or no, they're not called seminars, but whatever they are, the meeting.
Sure, seminar.
Seminar, yeah. And so I learned about pellets, and I was like, because one of your coworkers at the time, Dr. Forehead was telling me about these pellets, and I was like, well, this is something that I was interested in doing before I even knew about the pellets. Was I wanted to do something about getting testosterone to lose some belly fat and to get into better shape. And then when I found out about what maybe some of the shots do and stuff, I was like, I don't know if I want to take those risks. And I was like, there's got to be something better than that. Then I found out about these hormone pellets that you do that are natural, and I was like, okay, let me do it. So. First, real quick, talk about the difference between getting a testosterone shot and doing the hormone pellets.
Yeah, well, you're describing, synthetics versus bioidenticals. Bioidenticals are like human identicals, so it's your own hormone given back to your own body, hitting your own exact receptor. So it's what your body normally produces on its own, as opposed to it being from a synthetic source from outside and then hitting an alternate receptor. And when it hits that alternate receptor, that's where we get the side effect problems, the risk for cancers kind of problems.
Yeah.
And that's why things went awry with the synthetics so many years ago, especially with the ladies and hormone replacement therapy, and it got kind of a bad rap. But when you deal with a bioidentical, exact human identical hormones hitting the proper receptor, you are in essence rolling back the clock.
Yes.
And so the whole concept that you're describing is one of resetting our hormonal levels back to what the levels we enjoyed into our mid to late 20s. And so as a result, our sleep is better, our results in the gym are better, our health is better, our cholesterol is better, our joint aches go away. And, we're talking about not just testosterone or not just estradiol, but vitamin D, which is a pro-hormone, thyroid. You optimize all of those simultaneously, and you, in essence, roll back the clock, and so people feel better. And it's a way to get to the root cause. And so it's a vehicle to help you achieve what you're wanting to accomplish.
So I tried. A year ago, I said, you know what? I want to try this to see if it works, because being in radio, people approach me all the time with things, and they're like, "Oh, you got to try this. This is awesome." And then you go try it, and it doesn't work, and you're like, "Well, it's not so awesome to me." It didn't work. And I'm being honest. I was like, look, that did not work, whatever it is. And so for this, to try this, to actually, so I did it for, the first 3 weeks went by, and I was like, I don't feel very different. I don't know if this is one of those deals. But then when the fourth week hit, I felt like Superman. And I was like, how is this possible? What is going on in my body? I couldn't understand how much the inside. Now, it wasn't a jittery feeling like you do like when you drink, like, I don't know, like
an energy drink
or something.
Right?
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was like something inside me, and I was like, I can do extra weight at the gym. I can play basketball for an hour later. And the best part about it for me, one of the best parts about it for me, was that my recovery time was ridiculous. Like, it was next day ready to go. Because before, when I'd play basketball, if I play basketball for 2 hours at the Y, at the Andover Y, I'd go home and I would like almost crawl to bed. And then I'd get up in the morning and I would crawl to the shower to get in because I was hurting.
Yeah.
And then, and I would have to stretch like an hour of my lower back before I could even play basketball. When these pellets kicked in, after a month of being on these pellets, when they kicked in, I didn't have to really stretch before I worked out. My lower back didn't hurt at all. And I was like, that's weird. And then when I was done playing basketball, I didn't have to I felt completely normal the day after I played. My recovery time was ridiculous. Then my muscles started popping out of my body, and I was like, okay, this is what's going on. So they actually worked for me, and my body has. So I've been doing this for a year now. Mm-hmm. You've given me 3 rounds of pellets in 1 year.
Yep.
And for the average guy, it's only 2.
It's twice a year, so you're kind of on the outer edge. So your body's just using it up a little quicker. So we adjust the dose. I mean, you're describing very typical common reactions that people get. Some people get, like for me, I notice I get better sleep.
Okay.
So I have more energy during the day.
Yeah.
Your recovery time is shortened. Back to like what it is when Zach works out. He works out the next day, he's sore a little bit, boom, he's ready to go right after that.
Because he's 18.
Yeah, because
right.
he's only 18. So that's an example. Some people say my joint pains go away. My arthritic pain goes away. My cholesterol keeps dropping. I'm shedding inches. I mean, that's the concept, and that's why it works. And I like the delivery system of the pellet because we put it, we insert it in your skin with a little nick, and so it's based on cardiac output, so blood flow. You don't have to take something every day, and so for women it lasts pretty much 90 days or so, and then men they get last up to 6 months.
Yeah,
which is why for me I go about every 4 to 5 months.
I'm about every 4 months because I play basketball or tennis 5 days a week. So my cardio is constantly going.
Yeah, so the more you work out, the higher levels you enjoy, which is how our bodies are built.
Okay, Okay, so that's why, because that's how you're supposed to be with your body. So and this is natural. It's like you said something about it comes from like a soy plant, but I don't. There's people that
we extract the cholesterol ring from the soy plant. There's no soy in it, and so that's why it's a plant-based natural option, and then we just replicate it to the human identical form, and that's why it works so good. So people love it. I mean, it's remarkable.
Okay, so I'm at age 49, and I'm doing things that I couldn't even do when I was 25. It's ridiculous how it rolls back to clock. So what age people do this? Because you brought your mom is visiting you from Indiana.
Yeah, she came in, and she goes, I need another install. I need another round of pellets.
So your mom flies in to go get pellets from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so here she is right now. She's had a chance to use it for
let me talk to her for a second. Donna, how are you, by the way?
I am great.
Good. So you just told me you're 78 years old.
Just had a birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And so what is it about the pellets? At 78 years old, your son is a doctor, so he was telling you about it, and then you
He introduced it to me, and it makes me feel better mentally. And also energizes me. And I sleep a lot better.
Really?
Yeah. And besides that, I don't think of being 78. I think of being like 50, 51.
Yeah. So it helps you.
So it rolled me back 20 plus years.
So it's really helping you out then. All right. So at what age? What's the oldest you can take pellets? Like or have pellets? Like what's your oldest patient? Is your mom your oldest patient?
No, I've got we've got at least 3 or 4 ladies in their mid-80s that come.
Mid-80s.
Yep. They just don't want to be feeling older like some of their friends and stuff are, and so they come and they do great as a result.
Okay.
I've got some people. I got some young men.
Yeah. What's your youngest or what?
Yeah. Before age 25, and they don't know why. And typically, what we're seeing is I got some young men showing up in the office and they're battling anxiety and depression, and they have no physical ailment that should cause that, and they don't have any major life scenarios that are slamming them down that would inflict a depression state onto them.
Yeah.
And you don't think of this in typical standard medical training, and I've been practicing 30 years. They never trained me this, but before, now that I've got schooling and training and this method, I talk to ask their testosterone levels, and some of these guys have testosterone levels as the same levels of a 50-year-old man, and they're in their 20s, and various reasons have caused this, but that's why they feel bad.
Okay.
So that's why it's so effective in helping people alleviate symptoms of depression, anxiety, PTSD, that kind of stuff. Restores them back to where they belong.
Yeah, it's incredible. So listen, if you want to learn about, I wish I would have learned about this when I was 30 years old. I really wish that I could have been on pellets this whole time because they're incredible to me. They've literally changed my life. and
too.
my body.
Yeah, me too.
And you too.
Yep.
Like here you are. You're doing. So you're in your mid-50s, but you're doing stuff that I can't even do. The CrossFit.
I got interested in CrossFit. It's the craziest darn thing. I would have never thought about that in my life, and I've been doing it now. I go to Compelled Fitness on the west side of town and in the Flying Moose Mall, and you got to meet Alan. I mean, the guy's first class. The guy's getting me doing things I never thought I could do.
Yeah, it's incredible. So if you're interested in it, it's called BioTE, BioTE /new medical. And is that
That's
Facebook?
the Facebook. Yes, just go to Facebook. That's the easiest thing. And people could come to our seminar. Our next one's Tuesday the 24th at the office out west. But well, we've recorded the seminars on these Facebook Lives, and so there's out there. And again, BioTE-New Medical on Facebook, and you'll see the seminar, and you can go off and run and learn about it from there. See where it goes.
Love it. I know you got to go give somebody pellets right now.
Yeah, on my way to whole
I appreciate you coming in and helping the audience as well.
Yeah, they make you feel so good. Sometimes you'll just feel like you're taking them for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, granted.
Look at you. You got me on that one.